Hello, everyone. This is Pause for Parenting, brought to you by PAREDOS, Parent Education for Development in Barbados, and this radio station. I'm Cicely Clark-Richmond, Director of PAREDOS. PAREDOS is a non-governmental organization established with the primary goal of addressing the challenges faced by parents and families in Barbados. Assistance is provided through a wide range of programs, which include classes in parenting, designed to educate parents in all aspects of child-rearing practices to help them to positively impact the lives of their children. PAREDOS promotes strong, cohesive family life, which includes working towards life goals, imparting values to promote positive family life, and practicing work-life balance to include entertainment, reading, play, and to bring balance to life. PAREDOS also provides private and confidential individual and family counseling. These sessions are designed to assist clients to identify the root problems affecting them. Our other flagship program is the Community Outreach Program. We will be happy to assist your organization, be it a school, place of employment, church, community, or sports groups, to talk to parents and young adults about parenting. Call us at 427-0212 or email us at admin@paredos.net with your requests. We also offer a parenting class where you can learn how to keep your child involved in positive, wholesome activities. Classes are held on Wednesdays between 4:30 and 6:30 p.m. and Saturdays between 9:30 and 12:30. Today on Pause for Parenting, we continue with our objective to inspire and challenge you. Read your thoughts about parenting and family as we celebrate who we are as Barbadians. We're going to hear what can happen when your world turns upside down, when death is staring you in the face and you have a young child, a business, mounting bills, hospital, doctors, etc., to deal with. This is the story of Mark and Natalie Thompson. Both were and still are two successful professionals in their own right. Mark, an architect and owner of the Mark ThompsonGroup, an architecture and project development practice, and Natalie, a suave marketing professional whose mission is to inspire others while redefining marketing and one's approach to business. A decision to come home to Barbados while waiting to move from one location to another, and the death of Mark's father were already two unexpected events in their lives. But what came next, no one could imagine. On May 9th was something that, as I said, we just could not imagine. Natalie and Mark, thank you so much for agreeing to come and share your story with us.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
How long were you married, and how old was your son before this incident happened?
All right. We got married December 7th, 2017. Mm-hmm. Am I correct? There you go. And, but we met some time ago.
Right.
And
your son was?
Our son was already on the way when we got married.
Okay.
So he was born in April 2018. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
So when this incident happened, he was just about a year old.
Now, can you pick up the story for us when you would have just returned from the funeral of your father?
Sure. Well, it was May 9th. My father had passed away on the 25th of April. And so we had to change our plans anyway because we were going back up from May. Mm-hmm. And on the night of May 9th, we were all tired. It was a busy day. No one had done any cooking, and Natalie was feeling a little faint and wanted something to eat. And I went out to get something to eat, basically. Mm-hmm. That's around 8 o'clock in the night. And while I was out, I got a call, and all I could hear on the other side was some heavy breathing and the baby in the background crying. Mm-hmm. At first, I I thought maybe Natalie was having an asthma attack because she's asthmatic, but she hadn't had one in a long time. But given how tired she felt, you never know. So, but I wasn't getting no response when I was saying. So I literally rushed back home. So when I rushed back home, I came in and the place didn't look right. And I came around and saw an external door open. And by the time I turned the corner and got into the bedroom, I could hear Liam crying. And then I saw his mother, Natalie, slumped over in the corner of the bedroom, basically in a pool of blood. So I couldn't tell whether she was alive or not at the time. I kind of realized, I checked and I realized she was, and there was a whole lot of blood. I tried to lift her, but she was still slippery. So I called out to a neighbor who came pretty much right away and helped me lift her in the car. And because I knew there's no way of calling an ambulance or anything. Of course. So I just drove her straight to accident emergency. They came right out and got her to the operating table. Because the wound that she had, I didn't know at the time, but I subsequently found out the wound that she had was that she got stabbed in her heart, and it went in one side and came out through the other side, and which was really, that person really,
had serious intentions.
Yeah. And basically, first of all, I don't know how she was able to call. I don't know how she was able to call, but whatever, because the person actually stole the cell phone, but it happened to be the Canadian cell phone and not the Bajan cell phone.
Okay.
So she was able to call me. I was able to come get her. In terms of the operation, her heart arrested 5 times. The main problem, subsequent to that, was that because of the amount of blood loss, because she literally lost all her blood, was that affected the oxygen.
And obviously they would have, once in the hospital, obviously tried to save her life. When you were actually able to, I'm going to come to you, Natalie, in a moment, when you were able to just pause for a minute and just try to comprehend what was happening, what were your thoughts in terms of your wife and your son?
Well, there was really no time. I had to think of a number of things at the time when that happened, and my focus was get her to the hospital. First of all, I had to deal with the little one, so I asked the neighbor to deal with that. Right. He said, "Go ahead, we have him." And then my focus was get her to the hospital because I didn't know what was the result. Get her to the hospital. Once I got her there, then I called 3 persons. I called her mother. I called 2 very good friends of mine, one being a doctor who would be able to liaise with him, and then my other good friend, and then a 4th person, I called my sister who was in for the funeral. She's one of my sisters, and she was staying with us, but she wasn't there. So that's what I did because to set things in motion. Right.
Were there any other injuries besides the obviously that was the one in the heart was the most serious one. Were there any other injuries?
Yeah, there were a couple cuts, I guess, because she was fighting off the person, but that one was really the critical one.
Now, Natalie, your survival is nothing short of a miracle. I know that you're obviously still recovering, and this, I can't begin to imagine how you've been coping. Tell us a little bit about what has been happening with you in terms of how you are, adjusting, how you are in terms of, dealing with life as it is for you right now.
Well, I've been trying my best to stay focused, I guess, and stay positive. And I've been going to therapy. So I have therapy twice a week. And that's been helping me a lot. And yeah, that's basically it for now.
Right. What about your son in terms of relating to him? Obviously, he was still young.
Yeah.
In terms of, children always, want to be on mommy and daddy and hugging and running and playing, whatever. How have you been able to deal with trying to get this child to understand, mommy can't necessarily run around with you?
Well, it's been okay, but he's been adjusting because he didn't really know me.
Okay.
Because when the incident happened, he was really young. So it's trying to relearn to build a relationship with him.
Right.
So that's been my focus.
What about in terms of your relationship as man and wife, husband, parents? Obviously, what you've been through is I can't even find the right words. As I said, normal couples, we get married, we think that we're going to live happily ever after. We're going to go through some ups and downs, yes. But when challenges come to make you sort of rethink and refocus, it can put a strain, on a normal relationship. Furthermore, when these things happen, how have you been able to deal with that?
Well, there's never been a negative thought, really. It's been, everything that's necessary to get her back up. I suppose it does test, the thing till death do you part,
yes.
Sickness and health and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, to be honest with you, it hasn't been there hasn't been any negative thoughts. It's, if anything, I guess it actually proves the extent to which how we feel about one another. I think that's basically it. That she's shaking her head. I think it just proves that there really been no, and I mean just the whole fact that we are even married in the first place because we met before. We met about 11 years ago, and then we went to a period where we had no communication whatsoever, and then we just re-met, and then that was it. So and then that was it. Yeah.
What about you, Natalie, in terms of your thoughts?
Well, I don't have much thoughts about that. I think it's all been very good. Mark has been very good to me. I could not have asked for a better husband.
Definitely.
It's been really hard on me because I can't do a lot of things right. that I was doing before. But overall, it's been very good.
The whole experience, what is it, the whole experience? We talked a little bit about just now in terms of family, because you mentioned the persons you would have called before. And obviously, when you're going through a situation like that, family and friends are going to be really, really important. What are some of the into your seeing it from the other side now, recognizing, because you take things for granted that people are going to be there, people are going to support you, but having your friends and family, I'm sure that was very, very important in terms of helping you.
Yes, it was. We have a very good, strong
support.
Family support. We don't have anybody that is not willing to assist us or anything like that. So I would say that we have a very strong family support.
Absolutely, you can only echo that. We are our family and friends, and including her mother and so forth. In different ways have all supported us, and we certainly would not be where we're at, especially when she was at QEH for 3 months, and then in August, and then we had to fly out to Canada, and we were in Canada from August to December, and the focus was on her. Someone had to take care of Liam. We had a cousin that stepped up the whole way. Also, the cost of, therapy sessions are not cheap. So, we also would have gotten a little bit of help, and from friends, family, that's the case, we chipped in here and there to help. There's still more to be done, but this is where we're at now. I mean, when we were in Canada, we were seeing 3 therapists 3 times a week.
Yes, costly.
Yeah. Here we are seeing, as Natalie said before, we're seeing 2 therapists, but we're seeing 2 therapists 3 to 4 times a week. Right? Once, twice, and the other one sometimes once, sometimes twice. Yeah. But there are other things now other than the physical aspect, because the cognitive aspect, you hear her talking, you hear how she's responding and expressing herself. It's great. She had to learn to do everything all over again. It's like you're
a child again.
Yeah. When the incident happened, and right afterwards, she couldn't see, she couldn't walk, she couldn't eat, none of these things. All these things that we take for granted, she couldn't do none of. So she's come a long way from there to where she is. We ditched the wheelchair in November last year, and so any little thing, just going to the bathroom, all those things were take for granted, but she's doing all that. She's bathing, she's doing all that. Just little things like washing wears. So that's it's progressing, and the main challenge for her, and she will tell you, it would be her short-term memory. Sometimes it's short-term and then immediate term. So it's getting better, but it's just a continued work progress. Right now,
I can imagine. When you want to say something and you know what you want to say, and then you can't say it, or you want to go somewhere, you can't go. But then when you think about how you've gotten there, I think that can also be a depressing thought. Is there anything in particular now, a particular goal that you're working on, having gone from not being able to see and talk and eat? Now you're actually walking. Is there another goal that what's your next goal that you're working on, that you really want to? Pardon me?
To read.
To read.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know that we talked about the family support, and also you mentioned briefly about the financial challenges that this whole experience has brought, to you. And obviously you're the breadwinner now, only breadwinner in the family. How do we begin to, because persons are listening out there, and if they might be going through challenges themselves, obviously not as severe as this one, but in terms of now looking back on the lessons that you've learned, in terms of how do you deal not only with the financial aspect of it, but challenges in general, because they will come in life.
Well, you have to save for a rainy day. That is you just have to put away, you try not to live above your means. And I can't say that we've done any of those things, but sometimes you can get a number of challenges, and then on top of a catastrophe, that can really throw you out. And in this case, we were doing okay. But then when my dad took a turn for the worse, and his cost became, to take care of it became more. You had to add to that, and then subsequently this on top of that you don't plan for. And the complication with this is medical insurance. And medical insurance is very important. You should have it. So that's another thing I would tell persons: make sure they have medical insurance. So in Natalie's case, because she was in Canada and over 6 months, you couldn't do medical insurance in Barbados.
Right.
So you could only do it in Canada. That's fine. She had it in Canada, but it was true because she was going back to school and she was at university. It was attached to university. The moment she was not able to re-enroll September 1 in university, the insurance stopped August 31st. So after that, unfortunately, it's out of pocket. And so there could be gaps in there. Who expects that to happen?
How do you not pull your hair out, and lose it? Because
I actually, before all of this happened, I tried to get insurance here, but they told me, no, I can't do it that way because of the situation. But, so, maybe look at universal insurance that at least travels with you wherever you go. Maybe that's a way of looking at things, but certainly medical insurance is very important.
Natalie, Mark mentioned it earlier in terms of how this whole, situation in terms of learning some stuff. What are some of the things that you've learned about Mark that you perhaps didn't know before, that you, coming out of this situation now, that you really do, you've seen another side of him, obviously, in terms of being able to be there for you?
Well, he's been very patient. Patience is very important. Understanding and loving. I think those are all very important things to have. And he's exhibited them even more given these circumstances.
What am I cooking? What am I cooking?
His cooking.
His cooking?
Yes.
Yes, he cook girl too.
Okay. And what about you, Mark, in terms of, some things in Natalie that you didn't obviously would not have known given the, normal circumstances, but you've recognized this, this? Well,
I always recognize certain things about her, but what I would say is that she's the strongest person I know. That's it in a nutshell. If I was, I had to pick one person that I knew had to come to me and have my back, it would be her. She's the strongest person I know. I don't think, she wouldn't be here now if that was not the case. We can talk about divine intervention, we can talk about that, but just dealing with her.
What about your son? How is he doing?
Well, he's great. He's, he's good. Yeah, no issues there at all.
What would you tell him, looking down the road, about this experience that Mommy and Daddy went through?
It's a good
and
question.
How it changed
Good
your
question.
life?
Good question. Not sure how to. I would tell him. I'm not sure. I'll let time decide that. I'm not sure how I would deal with that. I mean, yeah, not sure.
You have anything do you think you want to tell him? Obviously about his dad.
Well, that he's one of the most patient people that I know. That he's very loving, which he would already know. And that he is I don't know what else to say.
That's okay.
It's okay. We're almost at the end now, and obviously, looking back, this has brought you two obviously closer together, I'm sure, and it is an experience that I think most people would say, I don't know if I could survive it. And you just mentioned how strong Natalie is, and we just want, as we close, to just remind persons in terms of how do we, because it's all about our mindset at the end of the day, in terms of how we adjust to challenges, how we adjust to change, that we keep our, well, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but just finally as we wrap up, in terms of how, looking back, and obviously you still have a way to go.
Okay. I mean, this world right now changes on understatement. My view is that you have to embrace it, and you have to come with a new normal, but you try to get the most out of every day. Otherwise, you will be very unhappy. I mean, that's essentially my what I have to say in respect of that. You have to embrace where you're at. You can't think about what would have been. You got to think about what is, live in the moment, and try to embrace that and live every day and get the most out of that and move forward. That's my best advice that I could give.
Natalie?
I would say the same thing, actually. To embrace every moment, to make the most of everything, and don't take anything for granted.
Thank you. You've been listening to Mark and Natalie Thompson share their experience with regards to having gone through, I can't find the right words for it, but an experience that I wouldn't want any one of us to go through. But life is such as that we have to be prepared for anything. And I hope that as you listen to this program, that you'll be inspired to be strong, inspired to work together, whatever the circumstances you're facing, for your children, for your marriage, for your family. And that in the end, you will understand that life is a gift. And as Natalie says, don't take anything for granted. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're absolutely welcome.
We hope that as you listened to this broadcast, you have benefited in some way and feel motivated to apply the information to your parenting experience. Once again, we at PAREDOS thank you for listening to Pause for Parenting. Remember, parenting is all-encompassing. Parents are their children's first and foremost teachers, guidance counselors, and nurturers. You are responsible for guiding and nurturing all aspects of your child's development, including their cognitive and educational development, as well as their social skills and emotional thinking. I leave you with these words of encouragement. Children are a gift from the Lord, a heritage and a reward, and are not to be seen as burdens. So train your child in the way that he or she should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. I wish you a blessed and productive week ahead.